Good afternoon and welcome to a webinar on how to find dividend-paying stocks with National Bank Direct Brokerage. I'll be your host for this presentation. My name is Bobby Argitis, Senior Investment Specialist here. The presentation is going to last for about 30 minutes, and they'll be showing you several different sections of the National Bank Direct Brokerage website. Predominantly the research section, and there are two specific tools that we have available. One is called the Fundamental Insight, and the other one is called Strategy Builder, that can be used to find dividend-paying securities or to validate investment ideas. And afterwards, we'll be showing quickly the Get a Quote section. And for those of you who aren't comfortable or have smaller portfolios, I'll also show you how to get dividend-paying exchange-traded funds using some of our tools here at National Bank Direct Brokerage. So the presentation lasts about 30 minutes. And before I begin, obviously the information provided in this webinar is strictly for information purposes and does not represent a recommendation on our part. Whether as an investment. Obviously, as individuals, you are responsible for making your own investment choices based on your investment objectives and risk tolerance. So, without any further waiting, let's begin. So, as you can see, I am logged into the National Bank Direct Brokerage account. For those of you who aren't clients of ours, just a heads up, one of the many advantages of dealing with us is that we don't charge any commissions on buying and selling of stocks, ETFs, as long as the trades are done online. So especially in the case, if you're looking to buy smaller amounts, or let's say up to one share or one unit, it's very cost effective, obviously at zero. So to begin, let's go to the research section. And really, for the research section, this is really based for someone who is really looking for an investment idea. So we're going to go onto research, and under the drop-down menu, we're going to click on publications. And in this section, we're going to scroll down a little bit. We are going to look at the section called Stock Select List. And over here, there's about 3 reports I'd like to show you. So I'm going to start off with one from National Bank Financial. It's actually number 5 on the list. It's updated on a monthly basis. So the last one is from May 9th. Should be updated any day now on our site. So what this document is, it's a list of best ideas from National Bank Financial analysts. It's been broken down by sector, and each analyst is allowed to put down a maximum of 2 or 3 of their best ideas. It's based on the estimated total return. Now, there's a question that just popped in. It's not specifically for dividend seeking, but there is a column, the third before last column, called dividend yield, that you can see over here, where they've added the dividend yield. So again, it's not specifically for dividend paying securities. So for example, a stock could be on this list because it's a good value play. It could be a very good, let's say, growth investment. It could be quality investment, or it could even be a dividend investing strategy. But ultimately, the stocks that appear in this list, there is a column for dividend yield that you can look at. So let's just look at it quickly. So let's say, for example, we're looking at the energy sector, and we'll use, let's say, Gibson Energy here, the second one, as our tool. As our stock. We have the symbol, we have the price here, the target price, the dividend yield being about 7.25, and the estimated total return. Now, this total return, just to give you a little heads up, for National Bank Financial, it's always looking at the next 12 months out, and the estimated total return also takes into consideration the dividend yield. So, for example, let's just keep the math easy here. Let's say the estimated total return is about 18%, dividend yields at 7%. So again, 11% share price appreciation and 7% dividend yield. Very straightforward. So again, you can go through the different categories and see if there is one that meets your needs. Obviously, if any of these companies look interesting to you, can jot down the symbol and then go to the quote page to look at the research report. So let's just head back to the main page here. All right, the next report is from Morningstar, which is called the Canada Income Select List, which is also updated on a monthly basis. So it's number 4 over here. So let's just click on this. Now, this particular report is actually specifically for dividend-seeking investors. Essentially, Morningstar has created this list, and what it is basically it features their highest yielding names among Canadian companies. And if I just scroll down a little bit over here, you can quickly take a look. In essence, there are the consider buying list and the consider holding list. Basically, the consider buying list; those are the actual securities that are actually on the income select list. While consider holding, these were securities that were on it in the past. Essentially, let's say here, anything you see with an arrow going up on the left hand side, it's basically a stock that had an upgrade. If you see a little, I guess it's a star or a blotch, this was recently added to the list. Here we have the name of the company, the ticker symbol, the sector that it's in, and the Morningstar rating, which varies from 1 to 5 stars, 5 stars being more desirable than 1 star, the current price, and the fair value price. And the last column is the dividend yield. As you can see, the majority of these securities have of a yield north of 4%. And if you just scroll down a little bit, there's the consider holding list. So this is really a good start to take a look at some of these dividend paying securities. I can see there's a question about, well, how is this list created? So let me just scroll down a little bit. It's actually on the third page, but before we get to the third page, what's a little bit interesting here is basically this quote unquote portfolio. What it is basically at the beginning of each month, they run their numbers and they come up with their list. So each stock is bought, and it's going to be equal portion. At the end of the month, they are sold, and then they run the numbers again, and then it's repurchased. So this is some of the performance, either calendar year returns or in graph format that you can take a look at. And in terms of the methodology used, it's just on the third page. And we have it over here, the Morningstar methodology, the performance tracking, and there's generally some comments here about why a stock was added or withdrawn from the list. So it's again, it's another section that you can quickly get a look at to see what's going on. And we'll head back to our previous page. And I have another question coming about the research reports from National Bank Financial and from Morningstar. So an actual report, I'll show you that really near the end of the presentation. But just to give you an idea, between both of them, we're talking about a little over 1,600 stocks and securities that are being analyzed. National Bank Financial will concentrate mostly on Canadian, large, medium, small cap, while Morningstar covers the U.S. market and certain large cap Canadian stocks. The third report that I'd like to show you is the NBF Strategic List Quarterly Review. This is number 6 over here. It's also updated. I know this is the quarterly review, but the actual list itself is actually updated on a weekly basis and on a different report. But I think the quarterly review, is a good spot to look at. So for that one there, let me just log into it. So if you're looking for, I guess, commentary, this is certainly a type of report you can look at. There's a quarterly review commentary on this. Then there's they'll show you what was added to the list and why something was removed. And then some, I guess, general commentary on some of the securities held in the portfolio. And there's a backtesting methodology in here also. So if you really want to dig deep, by all means, the information is here for you. And this is not specifically a dividend focused list, but just like the one from National Bank Financial, they've added a column for the yield. So again, it's broken down by sector, and I have the name of the company, the symbol, the yield. There's even the beta. So again, if you're looking for investment ideas, it's a good place to take a look at. If we look at, for example, I don't know, within the communication services. They've got Rogers Communication and TELUS. TELUS has been on the list since May 2022. Rogers has been on the list since February 2020. Here are the dividend yields and their betas. It's not a particular list that has a lot of turnover. So if most of you are more of I guess a buy and hold investor, this certainly would be a list that I would put a little more effort looking into. And if we go in the last page, page 8, they're going to tell you a little bit about the methodology that was used to create this list. So if you really want to go and look at the details. All right, heading back to our other page. Now, I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. And this one's called Stock Calendar Events. Specifically here, we have a monthly report that comes out. And to get that, we have to click on here and click on monthly report. And it's called the Vision Monthly. So the last one was on May 14th. And we'll click here. So this is basically, I know some of you are seeing this, seeing 71 pages, you're having palpitations, but this is basically, basically what happened during the previous month. So if you're looking for economic information, interest rates, inflation, commentary, there is a lot of information here for you to enjoy. But for us, since we're just looking for dividend-paying securities, so here we have sector analysis, and the first document that you'll see here is, it should ring a bell. It's the NBF Select List. So this is where it's normally held, but obviously in this document, most people would never find it. So it has its own little section. But if I scroll down a little bit, there's actually a breakdown by sector. And so, for example, here I have banking and insurance. And just to give you a little bit, to explain this page a little bit here. Now, the selection you see here, this appears on the selection list. And this is the commentary behind it. So if you wanted to find out why it's on the selection list, it's over here. But what's interesting is that they also have a list of all the securities that this analyst is covering. I just need to scroll down a little bit more. So again, I've got the name, the symbol, the stock rating. So just for information, OP is for outperform, SP is sector perform, UP is for underperform, and market cap, shares. And if we go all the way to the right side, there's the dividend yield that you can see over here, and the 12-month target price. If I move down to another sector, I've got the diversified financials. And in this case here, I also have it. They're not exactly the same, the reports, but generally speaking, if they are paying dividends, that will appear on the report. So again, this one over here, I have my dividend yield showing up over here and the 12-month target price. So again, if any of these securities, seem interesting to you, just take note of the symbol, and you can look up the research report a little bit later. All right, going back to the main platform of NBDB, we're just going to go up. And the next section is we'll look at some of the tools. So we're going to start off with this tool called Fundamental Insight. So we'll go into the markets heading, and we're going to scroll down till we see Trading Central. And Fundamental Insight is actually the second tool on the list. So I'm going to click over here. Now, the goal of these tools, I'm just giving you like a quick summary of what they are, but don't fret over this. If you were to visit our YouTube channel, and the easiest way of doing that is actually just clicking on the icon. You'll go straight to our YouTube channel, and you can see there'll be a research video on how to use this tool, how to use Strategy Builder. So I'd suggest taking a look at this. So with the Fundamental Insight, there's two ways of looking at this. So let's say, for example, you have a list, you have some securities from the previous section we looked at. You can just put in the symbol and have the tool analyze it. And what the tool is looking at, it's going to give you a score. It's called the quantamental rating. It's from 0, the weakest, to 100, the strongest. And basically, the stock's analyzed using different factors, which I'll just jump in just a few seconds. Now, what's important here to look at is not the size of the bubble, it's the color of the bubble. So, for example, this one over here, the size of the bubble is basically the trading volume. But let's say we put our mouse on this, I can see that, for example, here NVIDIA has a strong rating of 63. So really what we're looking at is the color and this number over here. So let's do an example. Let's say we were looking for a certain sector, just to manage this a little bit better, and we were looking for, let's go for consumer defensive. All right, so here I have my list, and I've never been a big fan of the bubbles, anyways. But I prefer looking at it in table view. So let's say we look at it from table view, a little more organized for me, anyways. And so it's been broken down into this section over here. So again, I have my ratings, and I can, let's say, for example, a lot of investors like looking at it from a market cap perspective. So if I click on this, All right, I can see from a market cap perspective, let's see, Walmart is the biggest company over here, and they have a fundamental rating of 48. Let's say we want to take a look at Walmart. So we'll click on Walmart, and we see here that it has a rating of 48, which is considered moderate. And how is this rating created, or how do they come up with this rating? It's very straightforward. There are the factor scores. So it's being evaluated based on growth, value, income, as in dividends, quality, and momentum. There's about 20 different criteria that are used to come up with the fundamental rating. So, for example, let's say we were looking at growth, just to give you a quick idea. So here we have, for example, they're looking at price earnings change year over year, earnings per share growth last quarter versus the prior quarter, and revenue growth. So, for example, this is what they'll be looking at, and specifically for income, which is what you'd be looking at if you're, more focused the dividend investor. They are looking at the dividend yield, the dividend growth rate, current to prior year, the dividend growth rate over it's basically the 5-year average, and the dividend payout ratio. So here we have is a score of 38, which is not, it could certainly be better. So what can we do with this? Well, this is basically from Walmart, but let's see you want to see what else is available, right? So by scrolling down, I can go to the peer comparison side, and I can specifically choose that if I'm more of an income-focused investor, or like a dividend-focused investor, I'm looking at an income rating that has a higher income rating. So I can see here that I've got Kroger, I've got Target, there's Dollar General, there's Cisco Corp. So there's many companies that have certainly a higher rating when it comes to the income factor. So let's say we wanted to look at Kroger as an example. So their rating is 66 versus 38. And just to be clear, let's remember this: Walmart has an overall rating of 48. So let's go see Kroger. So Kroger has an overall rating of 60, so it's higher than Walmart's, and specifically, it also has done better with income. I have a question about the dividend yield. I'll answer it right now, actually, by showing you this. So let's find out, why does Kroger have a higher score? So we can see here that its dividend yield, I believe, was a little bit higher than Walmart. But for all intents and purposes, a higher income score does not necessarily mean a high in dividend yield, right? Because they're looking at these other these other criteria as well. So they're looking at the dividend growth rate, 5-year average, and dividend payout ratio. But this is why I don't know if you remember, but compared to Walmart, these numbers here are certainly higher. That's why the score is better. So this is an interesting way for you to look at different securities. I've had clients tell me, for example, they'll just put let's say they were looking for a company like in the mining sector. So they'll put a stock that doesn't pay any dividends, and then they'll go into this section over here and then compare it to other securities that do have a higher income setting, and they can find investment ideas. So this is one way of using this tool. There we go. So let's move on next to Strategy Builder. So Strategy Builder is one of our more interesting tools in the sense that it's basically a stock filtering tool, and it can be very do-it-yourself. You know what? Because what you can do is basically click on the screening tool, and you can, for example, let's say clear everything, and click on more criteria. And here I have, I think, between 50 and 60 different criteria. And specifically, since we are looking for dividends, right? I have a dividend category. So I've got my yield, my growth rate, prior year, the last 5 years, my dividend coverage, and for example, there's all these other sections. So you can basically, choose your criteria to create your search. That said, for most people, I'm going to give you another option. And let's go towards Discover over here, because there are preset screens. So specifically, we can look at preset screens or expert strategies. For today, I'll just use preset screens. So if I look through here, I've got one on called Top Dividends. So if I just put my mouse over here, so top dividends are stocks paying and growing their dividends for shareholders that seek cash income from their investments. Okay, this looks interesting. I'll choose this. And I've got 535 matches. Now you can obviously play around with this. So let's say this is just for Canada, US. So let's say I'm just looking for Canadian securities in Toronto. I'm down to 80 matches. And what I can do is click on bulk edit, which is over here. And these are the criteria that they've put in. And let's say, for example, I'm looking for a dividend yield of at least 3%. All right, we've dropped down to 57. And let's say for a stock price, I want at least $25. Again, what's nice is that you can play around with this. So we're down to 32, which is interesting. And if I scroll down the page, and by the way, nothing stops you from adding extra criteria. So think of this as a base, and then you can add more, right? So it's the sky's the limit. So what you can do with this tool. So if I scroll down here, I have my 32 matches. The top 10 are highlighted over here, and again, I could look at the growth rate, the dividend yield. It's whatever you prefer. And again, you can look at these stocks a little bit more, find out why it ranked first. So if I click on this little cup over here, it shows where it scored versus the other ones. So what's really neat about Strategy Builder is that, okay, I have this list here, and again, some people just stop here and just write down these these particular symbols and look back. But if you're patient with me, just scroll down the page a little bit more, and I can do it in historical performance. And so here, because we chose Canadian securities, I got the TSX, but I can click on calculate. I'll just put in just 1, 2, 3. And basically, it runs the numbers every 3 months. And again, we're not looking at the holdings; we're looking at the criteria that were put in place. So in essence, you buy the top 10 holdings, you run the numbers again 3 months, and then you sell the top 10 holdings and buy them and buy the new top 10 holdings. And so here we have. Listen, technically, the strategy has outperformed. I can get some more details over here, but what's interesting is that you can always play around with this to find other, maybe add something here or take away something over there to see what works best for you. Okay, so this is what we have here for this particular section. All right, let's move on to our research section. So let's say now you have your security in mind. So we'll go to the Get a Quote page. And let's say, I don't know, let's go for BC is the security where we want to look at the research report on. Just type in the symbol. And I can see here that National Bank Financial has an outperform rating, and Morningstar has given it 5 stars. And if I just scroll down the page a little bit, this is obviously here. This is a real-time quote. You can update it by clicking over here, the 2 swirly little lines. And under the key quote information, we're going to go completely on the right side, and we're going to just look over here at the dividends. So again, I got my quarterly dividend, tax dividend date, the annual yield, all the information you'd be looking for. And specifically, if you for some investors, you can just chart over here to see the dividend growth. So for example, the last one here was at $1. If I go back to July 2023, it was 92 cents. So, and you can see the growth of the dividend if there is growth. After that, we'll look quickly at the financials over here. So these are the value. Here I have the valuation ratios, the dividend ratios, and if you notice, these keep on popping up, right? Dividend yield, 5-year average, dividend 5 years growth rate, and I have it for the company, the sector, and the TSX. Again, if I go down a little bit more, growth rates, financial strength, profitability ratios, management effectiveness and efficiency. So there's a lot of information over here. And if you think of it, essentially all of these are pretty much also showing up in Strategy Builder. So, this is something you can certainly take a look at. And let's go take a look at the research reports. So if I click on the Analysis tab, I've got my research from National Bank Financial and Morningstar. So we can see here that BC is at about $45, and National Bank Financial has a target price of 52. They have it as an outperform. Morningstar has a fair value of 60, and it's a 5-star rating. So let's see, we want to see the company report. So let's start off with National Bank Financial. I'll click here. And here I have the research report. You know what? Technically, the first page of the research report is really it's the summary, and you really have all the information that you need to go through this. So here, this is a company update that happened on June 11th. Again, they're selling selling Northwestel for up to $1 billion. All right, the target price went from 53 to 52. There's the estimated total return of just 19.5%, which includes the dividend. And on the right side, I've got the dividend per share annual, the dividend yield, and you can certainly find additional information in the documents. Really, the first page is the summary. If you want to go into the details, then you would continue looking at the other pages. So this is a typical research report from National Bank Financial. Okay, so if we go back to the previous tab, let's take a look at Morningstar. Now, with Morningstar, there's two types of reports. So if you like looking at, I guess what's the word I'm looking for, the raw data, then I'd suggest looking at the data tear sheet over here. Essentially here, this is basically the raw data for the company. Again, I have the symbol, the name of the company, the Morningstar rating, and you have everything here. So for example, I got my total return, I've got my dividend yield, all the accounting numbers are here. What's nice is the fact that it's going back 10 years. So if you want to see the progression of the numbers, hopefully that they're positive, this document will certainly provide that. Now, going back to the other page, if you actually want to look at a research report, then you'd click on Analyst Report. And here we have in front of us a typical Morningstar report. And again, got the last price, the fair value, market cap, again, economic moat. There's even an ESG rating. If I scroll down, they're not going to show you the dividend yield here because they're looking at basically they're looking at the company's fair value amount. But I think what's interesting from a comparison point of view is if I scroll down another page or two, a lot of commentary. So if you like reading up on the company here, they show you the interesting points, the less interesting points. But here is that they compare them to their main competitors. So here they've put them, BC, they're comparing it to Quebecor, Rogers, and TELUS. And I do have a dividend yield right down here. So again, we're doing the comparison for you. Again, you could go for this one or go for another one. So it's certainly something that's worth looking at. All right, let's head back to the main page. So I have a question that came up about how do I do a dividend reinvestment plan? So it's very, very straightforward. There's two options. You can always call us, but there's the other option, which is through a secure messaging center or a secure message center, as you would click on the envelope over here. And here, do new message. Obviously, you would select your account. And here, we're going to do drip. And you'd mention, please set the drip for my list of shares or this particular share or all eligible shares in my accounts. Send. It's very straightforward. Nothing more complicated than that. And one thing that I do want to specify is that it's very important that the dividend received is sufficient to purchase a full share. So for example, let's say the dividend that you receive on your BC shares would be enough to buy 2.3 shares. We'll end up buying you 2 shares. The 0.3 will simply be paid on cash. Obviously, the other option, which I think a lot of our clients are doing today, are taking advantage of, is because we don't charge commissions, a lot of clients are just taking the dividends in cash and making, let's say you've got several stocks that are all paying dividends and the dividends come in and they'll make one purchase with something else. Anyway, it's certainly up to you. All right, to move on to the last part, we're going to look at the ETF centers or how to find dividend-paying ETFs. We're going to go visit the markets heading and we will click on ETF Center. And I'll show you two ways of finding lists of dividend-paying ETFs. You can go through our screener. So for example, over here, let's say I'm looking at management fee. And like most screeners, it's very straightforward. So for example, under classification, I am looking for high yield dividend. Gives me 51 securities, 51 ETFs to look at. And then let's say management fee, I'm looking for, let's say the cheaper ones. And I'm down to 27, and here's my list. If I put my mouse over the symbol, I've got additional information over here. So again, I got the basic information here. If I click on fund info, I've got market cap, the management fee, and I got the performance here as well. You can go through these, look at these. Another option that's available to clients is I can also go to compare ETF. This can also be used for stocks, for example. But so let's say you type in your ETF symbol, X. So I can put up. I'm allowed to put up to 4 in here, and really, it's giving you the information you get in the get a quote section. But what I like looking at is the performance, because for the ETF, it'll go back up to 10 years, and I also have the top 10 holdings. So just imagine a scenario here where you've put in 3 other ETF symbols. So you've got 4 of them here, and so it's a very easy way to make a comparison. And lastly, we are going under the ETF research. And there's this called ETF Research and Strategy. And once on this document, we are going to look for Exchange Trade Funds Canada and US. So this document's updated every 3 months. So we click on this. And essentially what they've done is they took a snapshot of all the ETFs listed in Canada and in the States as of April 9th, and they've been put into different categories. So again, looking for dividend-paying ETFs, I can go here under Canada Broad Large Cap. And if I scroll down slightly, I have a dividend income section. So again, I've got the symbols here, the name, the MER, and the dividend yield. So again, this could certainly be a first spot to take a look at. And what's nice in general is even if it's not a specifically dividend-paying ETF, the dividend yield is shown for pretty much every single category. So if you want to if you look for other stuff, by all means, this would be a section that you can certainly take a look at. So that pretty much sums it up. We've certainly looked at all the different tools available. So again, whether you already have an investment idea and you just want to look at the research report, the get a quote section is perfect for you. If you're looking for investment ideas, research publications area, or using either fundamental insight or strategy builder can certainly help you find your dividend-paying securities. I hope everyone's enjoyed the information here, and I wish you good luck and success on your investing. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.